Hello, class. I just wanted to come on very quickly and walk you through the Module 1 short answer assignment and to think about how it fits in with a larger final project of this class. I want to give you all the tools you need to be successful. So this week, we've had a wonderful discussion. And so your Module 1 short answer assignment is beginning to draw you into a deeper conversation about the humanities. So you're going to be thinking about all of the areas of the humanities. Specifically, you're going to be choosing 3 different pieces of art, 1 visual art, 1 piece of performing art, and 1 work of literary art. And we're going to be applying that to a topic that interests you. That can be anything. We've given you the examples of family, money, and climate change. But I also want to point out that your textbook is an excellent resource when it comes to finding some of those ideas as well. You'll find issues of diversity, mental illness, and different social movements in the upcoming chapters. And in our chapter 2, which we read this week, we've had some really interesting discussions about the humanities and the sciences, as well as the arts and other humanities. Find an idea that really means something to you, something that really moves you, or something that really challenges you to think about how you can make a difference in the world. Once you've had that idea, what is that topic? Then you choose the creative works based on that. Simple Google search should bring up some really interesting things, but you need to do more than just do a quick Google search for these creative works. Let's think about what it is you're going to be doing. So first of all, you're going to identify the 3 works, tell us the artist, tell us the title, and then give us the reasons why, the rationale behind you choosing those works. So you ask yourself these questions. What do you connect to about each creative work? So what is it about that particular artwork that made you choose that piece rather than something else? What is it specifically about that piece of art that made you think, that's the one I really want to focus on for this topic? The second thing is probably something you haven't heard in other classes. What emotions does this work evoke in you? Humanities are not just something that stimulates your brain. It stimulates your heart. What would draw an audience to this particular creative work? It might not be a positive emotion. It might be something that repulses you. We talked about Guernica by Picasso in our textbook this week. Guernica is a really powerful art piece because it creates fear and anxiety because it's talking about war and it's talking about the ways in which people suffered during the war. So those emotions connect us to that piece of work and really cause an audience member to think about the world differently. Be sure that you identify what it is. Now, in Module 1 as well, you're also going to talk about 1 work in a little bit deeper fashion. So take the work, I would suggest, take the work that you respond most deeply towards and talk about that one. What about that work tells us something that we didn't know about before? What would guide the audience to understanding it deeper? Let's use Guernica again from your textbook. So when you look at that, it should help an audience understand the horrors of war on the civilian population in a new way. That was what Picasso's intention was, and based on the emotions that it evokes, it does that. It helps the audience understand that innocent people were suffering. Then the other idea is, what happens because of that experience? How does this creative work help an audience understand more? What does it do? What are some of the specific things? When you think about Guernica, I think about the horse screaming in pain. That is an incredibly evocative image. You can't see that and think to yourself, wow, that's, something that I can just overlook. It really draws you in. So be sure that you really go through that in depth. Now, as you're thinking about this topic, be sure that you go through the rubric and see where you need to make some really detailed explanations and what it is that I'm expecting you to do. Now, in the larger project, let's take a look at how this works. In our particular class, each of the assignments guides you toward the final project. So we've obviously done the first discussion where you've identified some of the things that you relate to with the humanities, where your prior learning is in terms of the humanities? What is it that you are drawn to? What are some of the art pieces that you respond to and that you've been involved in? Now we're moving into this short answer, which is going to give you that same idea of what is it, specific creative works that talk about a subject you're passionate about. Maybe it relates to your major. Maybe it relates to something that you would like to do in your career. In our next module, we're going to have further discussion of that. We're going to get drawn more and more into it before at the end of the next module, you're going to choose the creative works you're going to do for your final project. So really, this short answer assignment is helping you identify some potential artworks for your final project. It isn't just a pick any random 3, but really think about what are some artworks that I really want to focus on potentially for my final project, because we are getting drawn into that. You'll notice in part 2, this short answer is the start of how we move towards this project draft that you're going to be doing. So think about that carefully. I'd also really recommend that you look through the project guidelines for this final project. I've linked it in a couple of places, and you can also find it at the end of our first module. You're going to be looking at a scenario where you're going to be presenting 2 creative works to think about the organization's focus. That goes back to that first module's short answer assignment, right? What is the major societal goal that you're trying to think about, and what creative works could help that organization's focus moving forward? Okay, I wish you all kinds of success this week. If you have any questions, reach out to me. I am more than happy to answer them.